But first, Virtual Survivor. At the time of recording this, we did the reunion very recently. It's
Mm-hmm.
still fresh. Um, I gotta say, for someone who had not no idea what they were doing, because the fact of the matter is, you throw someone into Survivor, and the idea of Survivor is it's supposed to be like a microcosm of society, like so you're interacting with people and socially getting ahead
Mm-hmm.
and doing what you need to do. So like someone with no experience can go in and do very well. But you had no clue, and you did very well regardless of that. And you beat people who knew very much what they were doing. So I gotta say, as much as people will probably rag on you for how you handled the final thing, I think you did pretty well overall. Are you proud of your performance, or did you actually
Yeah,
need
I
to go to the woods?
no, for the first half of it, you would message me 5 or 10 minutes before logging on, and you'd say, "Hey, remember the thing tonight?" And then I would reply, "What thing?"
Yeah,
So the fact
you
that
would.
that's where we started, and this is where I ended, like I'll take that. I'll take all
And I
that.
also need to know because we saw where you ended and how
Mhm.
much like we're putting into it. But at the beginning, and I asked Tim the same question: were you like trying to get voted out?
No, not at all, because I'm too stubborn for that. I
You were. I thought I had a theory. I was like, I don't think Paul wants. I honestly thought this about like half the people. I was like,
Mhm.
I don't think they want to be here. I think they're doing me a favor, and I appreciate the favor, but I think all of them are just trying to get voted out immediately.
Mm.
Eddie, I thought was the same. So I cut out this scene, but Eddie literally says to Liam, like, "Yeah, I got a paper to write anyway, so this wouldn't be the worst." um,
Nice.
and I literally thought you were doing the soup salad sandwich thing. I thought you were just trying to piss everybody off so that they would vote you out. But I guess I should have realized that that's
Well, I
just.
didn't know that that I was just me being me.
I
I
know.
didn't know that actions had consequences socially. And then I started seeing people get voted off for what they were doing socially, and I was like, "Oh, that matters."
That
That's
is
funny.
that is you not knowing their
But
actions.
it's funny you said that, like Survivor being a microcosm of society. I read Lord of the Flies in the 10th
Great.
grade, and this was a time in which I was heavily concussed. I probably spent more of the 10th grade concussed than not concussed. But I do remember Piggy dying, and that always stuck out to me. And I think it's interesting because our Piggy died. Cody did not make it very far, and I think that
Yes, he
is
did.
kind of just. No, I mean, not as far as that. Just shows
Yes.
that you're right. It's definitely there are some correlations there that I would remember in Survivor having random flashbacks of like, oh, this is like Lord of the Flies. Like there's group formation and
Okay.
there's like people turning on people. And then when our piggy died, I was like, this is one for one. This is the same. This is the same deal.
Okay. So I haven't read Lord of the Flies. I'm just laughing at the phrase "our piggy died," but um, what?
Why were you so concussed?
I know the answer, but
Yeah. I played football growing up, and I played offensive line, and that's the position that gets hit the most. I get
did you
hit so
try
that the
using like your
people.
arms or your shoulders?
Yeah. Oh, and that's why I had two shoulder surgeries. Um, lots
Did
of.
you did you think maybe golf would be a good idea?
No, dude. I don't have the hips for golf.
It's fair.
I've been told by a lot of folks that my hips do lie. In fact.
Did you stop playing after high school?
I played a little bit in college. I got my 11th concussion, and I fully tore my second labrum, and that's when I decided I needed both surgeries to clean both up, and that's when I stopped. But then I had transferred to Bryant. I missed playing the game, but I couldn't walk on D1, so then I joined their club rugby team, and that's where I got my 12th concussion. Yes.
Were you like keeping a running tally? Like every time you got one, you'd mark it because I feel like you'd forget how many you had.
Yeah, no, more or less. I mean, It's generally a rough kind of number. Like I played for 6 years. I got concussed every single year, and then there were a few years that I got concussed twice. So I averaged that to about 9. And then I've had a car accident when I was sledding in school, and then rugby makes 4.
Good God, dude.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're still kicking.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats on that. Back to Survivor. What I was about to ask was, I think your biggest mistake. It wound up working out for you because you won immunity out. But I think the biggest mistake was not seeing that Jacoby. What? Not that he was necessarily against you, but that he was more with Rue mostly, and Robert by extension. And I think it would have been, and you were considering it too, but you voted for Rue. I think it would have been a badass move to save Cody at the final 5 with your idol. Then Rue goes home.
I know. I didn't know, and I guess this is kudos to the ethics and the integrity of the game. I didn't know people's relationships at all going into, like, even halfway through. I couldn't tell what relationships started in Survivor that just got really good and what relationships transcended Survivor. So I think that's one piece of it. The other piece of it was the relationships I had going in turned out to be, my biggest hurdle in the whole thing. So that was just something that I really did not consider. Was like what was being said outside of Survivor and the relationships that were had beforehand. But no, looking back, yeah, if I saved Cody, and I was thinking about it too. I was like playing that in my head, like this is something that I could actually do. But he was triple dealing the whole time. I just didn't know he was not somebody who I could trust. And
He 100% screwed himself by lighting Jacoby up at the beginning of that episode. Because later on, you were like, I got to save Jacoby. You just literally threw him to the dogs. So, yes, I get that for sure. I guess I have one more. We talked a lot of the reunions. We talked a lot about Survivor. I have one more question. Why did you stick so hard to your guns in Final Tribal about your sympathy towards John Carlin?
I don't know. I didn't know how. I had no, like I said in the live reunion, like I didn't really know how the game was won up until like final 3, final 2. And at that point at which I started to understand how the game was won, it was just like an introductory level. Okay, this is how people have won Survivor in the past. It wasn't like being applied to my game at all. So by the time I had gotten to Final Tribal, I was like super in my head about it because now I was factoring in this whole social thing that I did not consider for the weeks and months leading up to it. If anything, if I wasn't told how Survivors traditionally won, I think I would have done a better job just being me and just firing off the hip like I had done up until that point.
Do you laugh when you watch Jacoby in his confessionals talking about what a mastermind you're being and how you're like telling 3 stories at once and thinking about it so strategically?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I think I love the credit I've gotten. I think that just goes to like how good of a bullshitter that I am. But no, dude, I was pure in the moment. I had said, at Final Tribal, like I live radically in the moment, and I could, watching that back, I could tell everybody was like, oh my God, this fucking guy is just lying out of his ass. But true, I was just in the moment, vibing it out. And then I started to apply this social game awareness of it far too late. Like I should have just been like, that makes sense. Fuck it. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I should have brought, looking back, I think how I would have changed was to bring Jacoby up. I feel like I would have had a better. Yeah, I'm getting back.
I am getting that too. Tim, you hear an echo? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, I think bringing Jacoby instead of Rob would have helped me out because Rob didn't really piss many. Rob was like, if Vanilla was a person, And I think vanilla doesn't piss anybody off. Like nobody hates the taste of vanilla. They might dislike it, but nobody hates vanilla. People hate mint chocolate, and I was mint chocolate. And I think if I had brought Jacoby up, I think I would have had a better shot because he ruffled some more feathers than I. And I probably would have had a better job garnering more votes than Rob.
I also think. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
No, I have a dumb question, so you keep going.
I was gonna say I also think it would have helped your case because you were trying to play the I was loyal, I didn't backstab, I didn't backstab as many people as I could have. So that would have helped your case.
Yeah, and I was like, I could have been like, "Oh, Jacoby, I told you from the beginning it was going to be me and you to the end, and here are these instances in which you turned on me." Like when it comes to loyalty between the two of us, yeah, I would have. That was my fatal flaw.
But here's the deal: is if you did that, unfortunately, you lost Giancarlo. So Giancarlo was voting for anyone not named.
Which I'd like to get to that at some point in this. That whole thing.
Oh,
I did lose Giancarlo. It was his goddamn fault, and the fact that he cannot, in the way that you all edited it, makes it that much more in your face that it was his fault. He waited all of a second and a half, be like, "I know who has the idol,"
and then he tries to be all secret about it. He's like, "I know who has it, and if you know who I'm friends with, then you would probably know how I know who has it." And it's like, okay, why don't you
and then he's like, the fact that he's surprised that I think I went above and beyond coming up with that play to save him to then get Cody out. That was me extending an olive branch like, "Hey dude, you actually really set me back, but I'm going to try to make this work." And then Cody won immunity, and the fact that he was still blindsided after that was his action in that consequence, like I don't know if there would have been a world where I would have been able to save Giancarlo's vote while he still did that.
Do you think the gift maybe didn't help?
Oh no, dude, the gift, that was just like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, the gift definitely did not help. I think if I didn't send that though, I'd be in the same boat. I think what didn't help was him blocking me, because then that made me block him after he didn't vote for me. And then, like we were talking about with the concussions, I just forgot that I blocked him. And then went in our friends group chat and was like, "Can someone tell Paul to unblock me?" And that's when I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot about Giancarlo." It was like 3 weeks, almost a month at that point. Things were busy and I was just doing what I had to do. And then I saw the text. I was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't heard from Giancarlo this past month."
Dope. Well, Paul, to wrap up Survivor, because we want to talk to you about other things. Our community of people who tend to watch our stuff know us very well. Now they only know you from Survivor. But to wrap up Survivor, I love returnee seasons where people who've played before play again. Spoiler alert, but you're a shoo-in to come back at whatever whether it's All Stars, whether it's Second Chance, like literally the runner-up who currently has the individual immunity record, and because there's so few individual immunities, I don't know that it might be hard to beat that.
Yeah, I heated up.
And also the fan favorite. So like you're probably like top pick first draft to come back for a returnee season. But